I'm Thelisha Eaddy with South Carolina Public Radio. As you may know, March is Women's History Month, and if you tune in to South Carolina ETV later this week, you will learn about a map that celebrates trailblazing women from right here in Columbia. And joining me in studio to talk about this wonderful map is our Director of News, Amy Crouch. Thank you for your time, Amy.
Thanks, Thelisha, for having me on.
Absolutely. So we're stealing some time from coronavirus coverage. The irony is that this story still does link back because this map is not a physical map, it's a virtual map. So for all the kids that may be home, this map is a good educational tool for them. You produced this segment that will air on ETV later this week. What will we see and learn?
Well, I think it's amazing that the Columbia City of Women.
Also, we have reporters out in the field this evening. We have Thelisha Eaddy, who's at Joe Biden's watch party in Columbia, South Carolina.
As you can tell, Gavin, and probably as you know, very, very, very excited and energetic crowd here at the Volleyball Center in downtown Columbia. Immediately after polls closed this evening, and I do mean immediately, the screens behind me showed Biden as the projected winner, and this room erupted into cheers. A little bit of background about that. Our primary is the first in the South, but it's the fourth in this nominating process. Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, they all came before us, and Biden did not do well in those contests. People started talking about his electability factor and, frankly, the lifeline of his campaign. You at home, you probably saw and read articles that was bringing up the fact that this was Biden's third bid for the presidency, never winning a contest before. He had a lot riding on today. He told crowds here in South Carolina, especially the ones that he visited on his Soul of the Nation bus tour, that if you give me a win here in South Carolina, I will.
South Carolina, let's talk about Joe Biden. He was said to have a big advantage among African American voters in South Carolina. Is that going to hold?
Yeah, we think so. At least the voters that I talked to think so. Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Joe Biden, were actually here in Columbia yesterday and at what they were calling a launch party. And right off the bat, he had a high energy. The people there had a high energy. But right off the bat, he told supporters there that the fight to end Donald Trump's presidency was just beginning, that they only heard from 2 states out of 50, and that we have not heard from what he called the party's most committed voters. And that, of course, the African-American voters here in South Carolina, they make up about over 60% of the vote.
McMaster. Across town at Democratic headquarters, Thelisha Eaddy is also here in Columbia.
Right now, they're mingling. They're enjoying food, they're enjoying music and bluegrass music. You can hear some cheers in the crowd as well. But a little later tonight, they will be focused on that large screen behind me, because that is where we will be watching election returns, and you can see some returns on the screen right now. I had the opportunity earlier in this week to talk with Democratic supporters throughout the Midlands this week, and many of them told me, despite the fact that South Carolina has not elected a Democratic governor in almost 2 decades, they are still optimistic that tonight will be different for the gubernatorial candidate James Smith and his Lieutenant Governor running mate Mandy Powers-Norrell.
Duke Energy is asking the state Supreme Court to overturn a decision made by state regulators that sharply reduced what the utility wanted to charge its almost 800,000 electric customers here in South Carolina. South Carolina Public Radio's Russ McKinney has more.
Duke Energy Carolinas in the upstate and Duke Energy Progress in the PD ask state regulators to okay increasing...
Agencies are teaming up to help combat human trafficking. South Carolina Human Trafficking Task Force and the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association have partnered in the fight against the crime. They will focus on training members of the hospitality industry, ensuring businesses have safe response protocols. In a statement, Attorney General Alan Wilson said this partnership is an important step toward ensuring the hospitality industry is well trained to identify and safely respond to potential incidents of sex or labor trafficking. Chester County water customers have clean water once again. South Carolina Public Radio's Scott Morgan has this report.
Almost a week after a break in a 30-inch main cut off the county's water supply to 6,700.
Tuesday, runoff elections will take place in cities across the state. In the Midlands, voters will cast ballots for an at-large Columbia City Council seat. In the upstate, votes will determine the mayor's seats in Malden and Fountain Inn, as well as one city council seat in Fountain Inn. And in the Low Country, the city of Charleston will decide who its mayor will be. South Carolina Public Radio's Victoria Hansen has that report.